Hi Princess, the pages that need to be done are these pages such as this one that are in the list that I gave you in the project management system. That list should be basically the same as this one. You can tell which pages they are because they're Flash. If you right click you'll see zoom in and so on. And we're replacing all Flash items with non-Flash items like the home page, which we've already done. It has text coming in the quotes, just as the Flash version used to have. If you right click on it, you'll see it's just a standard image and so on. If you look at the code, you'll see that in fact it's using a jQuery, and with this in the header, and if you just search for the array, you'll see the images that are contained without any resizing. These are the dimensions you need to put those in for the large images, and if there's only one image, you only have the top one showing. But if you've got more than one image, such as here, you've got 4 images, then this is how you do it. The images are revealed to you, as is mentioned in the instructions, when you look at the XML file for the Flash, and you can see what the image names are and what order they are. So you just copy them down, except of course that you have to have the relevant path, not the whole path, just the local path to the image. The next thing we're going to look at then is if we'll just go back to this particular Flash item. If we look at the source there, you should find that if we just do a search, you'll see that there's the Flash parameter here, and if we compare that to the one that's already been done, you'll see that this is commented out, as is this element. So that's been commented out so that the Flash item doesn't show. The text box div, which is here, must be underneath the old Flash item that you've commented out. Just going back to the instructions, if you come down and have a look at the instructions here, there's the JavaScript code and the CSS code, which you need to copy from that page or any of the other pages, in fact, that have already been done, and put it inside the new page that you're editing. So the JavaScript code and the CSS code, for example, you'll find that here's your jQuery code. Your JavaScript code, which is all of this. These are your elements of text, which all these elements define how those text items behave and where they appear. And so these are the elements that you're going to need to adjust and edit in order to make them look exactly like, as far as possible, exactly like the Flash file that you're replacing. If we look further down, beyond the JavaScript, you'll see the styling, or the CSS, of the text elements. So this has the positioning, whereas the JavaScript has the timing and the movement of each text element. The CSS, which is here, has the positioning and the way that it looks, the font, and so on. And you'll need to fiddle around, you'll need to play around with these until, again, the positioning of the text matches as far as possible the positioning of the text on the Flash file. So that's the end of your styling. And then here you have the div itself, as I said before, underneath the Flash object. That's the ID, and these are the text elements, and these are the items of text. So if you compare this to the actual page, you'll see that these are the text elements which match up with what slides in, and so therefore they're controlled by the styling, which is up here for each text element, and the behavior is controlled by the jQuery, the JavaScript, so including the slides, which are here, and each element along here, where you can animate, timing. So you're going to keep the timing at the same sort of speed, and where these items appear, or where they move to in their animation, is controlled by these elements here. So you can experiment with those and see how it works. So from those you'll get an idea of where each text element will end up, and you can get quite fast and quite accurate. So just a reminder that in an unedited page like this one, which still has the Flash, where it says start page content, and before the div ID equals content, you're going to place, I'm just changing the page, you're going to place the JavaScript for the slideshow with all its parameters, and you can change these and adjust them later to be relevant to the page that you're editing, which comes down to here. That's the end of the script. And then you include the styling, the CSS, which comes down to here. So all of that goes before the div ID equals content, which is here, and just after the start page content. At that point, you have your SWF, or your Flash element here. So if you go and compare this to an unedited page like this one, that's what you're getting rid of. So just compare those two quickly. And you'll see what you have to move out of the way. Then after this particular SWF content, you have your div here, which is your text box div. So just follow exactly the same format as in one that's been successfully implemented, and see where it differs to a page that hasn't yet been done. And from there, from that point forward, you should find this to be relatively straightforward and easy to do, apart from you'll have to spend a little bit of time moving around all these elements to do the pieces of text, and just follow the rest of the instructions as they are here. And the stuff above is just meant as an example. And here's the element that you need to comment out for the Flash item.